Today I'm looking at the electrical space. It's a space that I know quite well. I'm going to deconstruct some competitors. The goal this time around is focusing on split systems, air conditioner. This is the wholesaling side of things. So I've been given a few competitors to take a look at, and one of the first things that I do is I just deconstruct what they are doing. I look at some industry numbers in terms of search volumes. The desire is to acquire traffic on wholesaling terms, so potentially selling to electricians installing the split systems. So not as easy or direct as it is to just run an ad for split system installer plus suburb. So I've been given a few competitors. A lot of the time, those competitors don't really have good marketing campaigns. So the true competitors are the ones at the top of Google for our desirable keywords. So I'm going to jump in and share my screen and just share with you a very simple workflow that I really enjoy doing, because every client means a different geo area, different suburbs. I discover new key terms. Now, in the standard sort of residential or commercial electrical space, it's pretty straightforward. But this time around, we're fishing for high intent key terms, bottom of funnel keywords, and there's not that many of them. If you don't know what I do, my name's Eugene. I build and rank websites. I've got more than 20,000 hours of core SEO activity, running Facebook ads, running Google ads. I reckon over my years I've spent more than $20 million of budgets, mostly on Google ads, but a big chunk is from Facebook ads as well. And I love the omnipresent effect, which is I diversify and have always diversified my source of traffic, source of leads. When I got into SEO more than 15 years ago, I realized, hey, we've got too many eggs in one basket, things are volatile. And I discovered that by building and ranking a lot of my own personal websites, which I currently have about 800 of. And I soon realized that I need more juice. This was a while back, which is how I began to run Google ads. And then on top of that, Facebook ads. And the omnipresent effect is essentially showing up at the top of Google Maps. I love working with local businesses, especially in the trade space. And a lot of those these days, I'm firing up very basic pixel retargeting Facebook ads and a bit of a carpet bomb on that area for brand related searches to increase. So let's move my big head down. Now, last time my videos covered a lot of content on the screen, so I'm just going to try paying more attention. We get the treadmill going, got to get the steps in, otherwise I'm just in front of the computer all day. Julio's here. We will go for a walk, I promise. Yes, Stella, you can come as well. All right, I'm going to be sharing mostly paid tools, because when I pay for tools, they save me a lot of time. But I will share some very simple workflows. While I know the keywords already, and I already have a list of air conditioner installation key terms, one of the first places that I start is I go to ChatGPT, as most of us do, and I feed a custom GPT the competitor URLs. The client has provided me with 1 domain, 2 domains, and 3 domains. Now, what I quickly discovered was that while these are, I'm sure, reputable brands with multi-locations and lots of space, and they're definitely worth taking a look, the true marketing campaign to be deconstructed, and I've only spent 5 minutes looking at this space, was actually this brand over here called Wholesale Aircon, which is the desirable key term. Now, the term wholesale can be used a number of ways. It could be used to simply state that you are cheaper, but you're still just selling to residentials and doing the installations. But in our case, our goal is to target the installers, so not the residential mum and dads that need a split system installed, but the electricians that might choose your brand and buy from you. This scenario happens a lot, especially in the construction phase space. The term screw piling is another one. Who needs screw piling? The builder. The term steel framing. Who Googles steel framing? The builder, a lot of the time. So it's about advertising to them. So it's not as clear and easy to filter. We're running Facebook ads for steel framing, and we're just trying to call them out. Attention builders in Sydney. send us your drawings for your steel framing requirements and let us send you back a competitive quote. Is it working? Yeah, we're getting inquiries. Are they high intent inquiries? Not so much. So that space is more of a Google ad territory and SEO territory. But the foundations of it is phase one, which is have a website which displays your services and your products. And in this space, it means talk about all of the various split systems. So one of the first things I do is I grab this domain, and while I can easily throw it into Ahrefs, and I go to top pages and organic keywords, and for years we've been able to do keyword research this way. I've actually been feeding mine into a custom GPT. Now, I use Typing Mind, which is basically a kind of a third-party tool that I have an API key connected to ChatGPT, and I use a plugin called Firecrawl. Now, I just found that ChatGPT on its own, when you want to visit a website, it will just hallucinate a lot of the time. It's not consistent, and I'm too impatient for it to just spit out garbage, because it literally makes things up and it convinces you that it's legitimate. Now, Julio, you are taking up lots of space, but I do love you. So what I've done is I use Typing Mind, which is a one-off purchase. Then I pay a subscription to firecrawl.dev, and I've made a whole bunch of custom GPTs. But in simple terms, what this custom GPT does is it gives me 20 high value discovery keywords based on the domain, plus it gives me 20 commercial intent keywords targeting Melbourne. Look, I narrowed it down, but what I did, I fed it a few domains, and we've got long tail stuff coming out. So if I was to, this is already more than enough information to go into a URL plan: air conditioner installation, Melbourne, Sydney, etc. And so what this does, one, it then gives me a very quick list that I throw into Ahrefs to understand search volume. I also use SEMrush, but my account's been, after like more than 7 years paying one of the more expensive tiers, have just been blocked. So what we're doing here, ultimately you only need one or the other. You don't need two. I just like the way things look in SEMrush. Just a personal preference. But we're now looking at the chunk of the pie. So I can, when I catch up with the client, I can say, okay, Mr. Client, split system aircons has a keyword difficulty of 8, which is not super competitive. We're not going to rank for it in a few months with a brand new site, so we can forget about that. But we can see chunk of the pie, a share of voice, how many searches a month, cost per click. But most importantly, I can filter down to keywords that matter to us, which was wholesalers, which is not much. So there's not much going on with wholesalers. So air conditioner wholesalers, HVAC wholesalers. Has this not updated? I swear I had a bigger list here before. There was a bigger list. I don't think I've updated this. So that's my process, is I go through this and I take note. So I just screenshot this, catch up with the client, show them. Now, the next thing I look at is, of course, I deconstruct the competitors that the client gave me. They gave me this mob over here. And one of the first things that I do is I just get an understanding of how big this site is. Site semicolon. Now this is a free thing that you can do. Site semicolon allows you to see that these guys are displaying 24,000 indexed results pages. So it's like these guys have been around for a while. If we're just firing up a domain today, expectations of results and getting some of their traffic and overtaking some of those websites, but let's actually play the game. So I've thrown in one of the sites that the client gave me. Not much going on from an SEO perspective, but they have been around for a while. So it looks like they've built out all of the pages and it's actually heading in the right direction, unless they've gone through a website rebuild. Looks like the domain potentially went down, or they changed URLs and didn't do a redirection. This is the kind of stuff that happens. I've got a separate video on domain migrations. This is literally looking like they did a website rebuild in 2023 and they didn't redirect, and finally they did redirect. I'm interested to see what happened here. Jan 2024, way back machine. Julio, you're getting heavy, mate. He's on my hand. He's sleeping on my hand. So what are we looking at? We're looking at these guys here. I'm just interested to see what happened with this site in, what was it? Where was it? November 2023. So if we go 2023, nothing happened around November, but this screenshot might help us. So that's October. All right, that's going to pick it up. Let's see what was there. Or the domain dropped potentially, or it was a URL change. HTTP. What's going on here? I don't know. Okay, that's it. They just left the logo. Maybe there was some kind of an interchange, but look at this. From August 2023 to 2024, maybe they changed URLs, but that's a big loss. That's almost like a domain reset. Anyway, the site that I am going to have a look at is actually the site that I found to have the best SEO within 5 minutes. I didn't look at any others. There might be much better, but this is the one that I will spend more time looking. And one of the first things that I do, and this sometimes takes a while, is I'll do a Screaming Frog audit. And Screaming Frog, there's a free tool that allows you to inspect a domain up to 500 URLs. This particular one had 785, but even if you do 500, you get a really quick understanding of the effort that goes into this site. In particular, I'm looking at their category pages, their SEO pages. In this case, it's got collections, which that sounds like it's a Shopify site, because any common sense WordPress site wouldn't choose that as their, they would just go straight into the categories. That smells like a Shopify site, and they have / pages. Yeah, this is a Shopify site without me looking at it. So this is really cool because I can do a quick run through their SEO titles. I can see their errors that they're using. In this case, I'm not looking at their errors, but we can make a table, a tree graph like this, which basically shows you that look at their Mitsubishi air conditioners, Toshiba's, more Mitsubishi electrical split systems. You can see their categories. It's like this is if we were to build a website, if you offer Fujitsu's comfort split systems, we build that category page. Whoever designed this, all of the SEO keywords with minimum overlapping, Daikin split systems, outdoor accessories, a bit spammy, but hey, it does the job obviously. And you can see the breakdown. I discovered there's this cool visuals that you can also do now. Absolutely useless, but it's cool to fly through the site and then move it around. I can move it. What do you mean? Julio, have you seen this? Check it out. Jules, look. You want balls? Look how many balls we got. Look, balls. Ball. Why is it moving? We're building websites here. We're not playing. Oh, okay. And then they also visualize it this way, which is just another way to look at it. I'm trying to understand which is the most useful, but to me, the most useful, shortest road is the one that you know, which is this one over here. It makes it really simple to look at the site. Itchy nose. So obviously I will spend more time looking at the competitors. I'll click on this one has a nicer brand. They've got a really good intro video. So this is the kind of video that every business should have, like a foundation. I know this song, I've used it for my trading campaign. Yeah. Bonus points if you get the founder on camera, but that's it. That's a good, it shows you that this brand is mature, a bit more trust signals. That's a good start, right? So I looked at the keywords. What have I shown you so far? I looked at the keywords. I looked at a few competitor URL plans. I looked at what these websites are built with. Azure Monitor. Is that, what have we got here? I guess that this is Shopify. Yes, it is. Bang, Shopify. Once you see / pages and / categories, no one in their right mind that's doing SEO would choose that. So that's a default Shopify thing. Who else do we have? We had these guys. Yeah, it says Azure, but it's on Cloudflare. Some sort of a, what CMS is this? Sometimes it's not clear, but that might not be WordPress. They see, can't find it. This was another one. This smells a bit WordPress-ish. Magento. Hey, I am very excited now because I don't strongly feel, but I reckon a WordPress site will do quite well. However, it's just a question of how many products does the client want, because, and what sort of functionality they want. So Polyair, 20,000 pages. So we're instantly just fishing in ponds with a few big competitors, 2,000. So interestingly enough, the site that does the best on SEO, if we throw this into SEO, organic traffic, sitting at 29,000. This is by far the youngest website of the 4 that I've been given. I wasn't given this one. This one I found myself, because literally it's an exact match domain, Wholesaler aircon. Like, you can't get any better than that. One of the next things I'll look at, I don't know if this is much of a social media play, but in this day and age, you do want some brand signals, which means Facebook ad potentially. It's very unlikely we're about to find that's actually blocking the, oh no, follow us. Let's see what they got going on here. 2022 was their last post. There's no chance these guys are running Facebook ads, but let's just check it out. Facebook ad library. Oops. No ads. Look, that makes sense. These days, I would put $5 retargeting ad because you're receiving so much traffic. I would pinpoint the pages that matter. You've got these collections, split system air conditioners. So you got 987 people visiting that website. Traffic. 9,800 people visiting that page every single month. Why not put a $5 Facebook ad and see if you can get inquiries that way? It's just a retention ad, really. No brainer, in my opinion. But also you can run a Google ad, but everything's to do with their desire for more leads. Some people don't want more leads. Some people are working on their internal systems and processes and looking to handball the leads to somebody else. So it depends what their game is. So what have we gained? We've gained knowledge on the desirable key terms, and this is where I'll put the list into a little document. We've had a look at the competitors, and what I usually do, I just get the screenshots, I look at the keywords, electricals wholesaler, the important competitors, competitor number 1, competitor number 2, and I'm basically looking at the cost of entry to market. What are the kind of sites at the top of Google? Phase 1 is we need to build a website, and that's simple. We list all of the brands. I did this a lot in like print and IT spaces. You've got the brand of photocopiers. So you have the brand, whatever it is, Konica Minolta, Fujitsu, Toshiba, and then you have the models inside, which is the URL structure that we saw here. But what I also did, I looked at another competitor, which was this one over here, sitting on 3,000 visitors a month. And so I deconstructed their pages. What just happened? And I downloaded it on Excel. And so it looks, can I zoom? So this was cool. And so what I usually do, a bit of a filter, and I just group it. Everything's very rush at the moment, very early days. We're just trying to get an understanding of what kind of a site. So here are the products. Yep. Makes sense. Units, window air conditioners. Oh my God, how many pages did I download? And this crawl wasn't even done. Products, got it. Okay. Is there brands? Brands. Here we go. Brands we sell. That's what I was talking about. So these are important. Brands we sell. I would have just done, so Toshiba, Samsung. And then is there anything else further? No. Okay. So they just went straight into the product. I would have probably done things a bit different. So not a good example. They've just loaded up Magento, and Magento, I'm not a fan of Magento. I'm also not a fan of how this Shopify was set up, but hey, collections, split system air conditioners, happy days. Let's see how else. LG splits them. So what they've done, the collections, LG, they're just going brand, split system straight into, so no sub pages. That's obviously working. I don't think they're running any ads, but let's have a look. Paid keywords. Makes sense that they should if they're selling to residential or commercial. No, doesn't look like there's any trace of ads currently being running, but also Ahrefs isn't a very good. One of the things I do actually pay attention to is the intent of certain keywords. So I've got this Chrome extension that I use. It's called Keywords Everywhere, right? And Keywords Everywhere gives you this cool dashboard where you can type in electrical wholesaler, which gets searched 22,000 times a month. And Claude will give me a nice breakdown of the intent of that key term. It's really cool. And the intent of that key term, because I said to the client, what's the actual, you're doing wholesale electrical services. And the intent of electrical wholesaler is literally an electrician that's on the job and he's forgot a part or he needs to buy a part and he just wants to go somewhere close to get it, right? Electrical wholesaler near me, electrical wholesaler my location. So it gives me a really cool breakdown of what the intent behind that word is. Finding electrical wholesalers with competitive pricing and deals. Purchasing electrical supplies. Even though we're thinking, okay, air conditioner and split systems, there's so much that goes into that space. I guess that is what we do, but we want to narrow down to the keywords that matter. I hope that helps. This is basically how I kick off any and all of my early day analysis, deconstruct the competitors, find brands that's one thing I didn't do, find brands in Canada or America that are just world leaders in marketing. That way you can look at their Facebook ads. A lot of them, all the leaders will have some kind of a Facebook ad running. And if they've got a marketing agency with big budgets, you can rest assured they've done their A/B testing, so you can be inspired with what they do and see if you can replicate that. So in this case, my path would be to plan out the URL plan. The site's already looking like at least 30 core pages, right? All the brands, all the models. This is where I'll have the conversation with the client who's managing the site. Are you uploading things? Are we uploading things? My job is to be offhand and empower you and your admin team to be loading products on a daily basis, whether it's WordPress or Shopify. And then the next conversation is how do we actually attract traffic, which is phase 2. Here's what all the competitors are doing. SEO, potentially there is a Google ad that you can fire up. I just didn't find there to be that much search volume. Let me see if I had that screenshot. Let me just quickly pull it up. There was some minute search volume. Here it is. Aircon wholesale, very low volumes, and that's nationally as well. Having said that, I spent 5 minutes on this. If I keep digging, I'm sure I will find keywords that only electricians Google, which have the intent of looking to buy a split system. Or maybe I'm wrong. If you got any ideas, hit me up. Thanks, team. Talk soon.